Plans to ensure that people with Down syndrome get lifelong care have passed 3 stages in the Houses of Commons and Lords and is now on its way to becoming law in the UK. It requires what is called Royal Assent, when Her Majesty the Queen or one of her commissioners literally says, "La Reine le veut." The Queen agrees. The former Defence Secretary, Dr Liam Fox, who is also a doctor, has used his private member's bill space to introduce the legislation and has really championed the cause. Well, the bill has government support and, as I say, now awaits Royal Assent. Campaigners say the bill is more necessary now than ever because people with Down syndrome are starting to outlive their parents. Well, I'm delighted to welcome back to the programme Ken Ross, who's the founding officer for the Down Syndrome Policy Group, who also helped draft that bill. It's good to see you again, and it is terrific that the bill is where it is now, just requiring the Royal Assent. But when you were last here, we talked a little bit about the content of the bill, and you know as well as I do, because you've taken the stick, not me, that some of the campaigning groups say, "Oh, I didn't go far enough, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do that." How tough was that when you thought you were doing the right thing, and Liam Fox was on board, and it got through all its stages? How tough was it to be knocked?
Well, I think when we saw that the Down syndrome bill could become a reality, or at least start its journey with Liam Fox using it as his private member's bill, it never crossed our minds that anyone outside of government or the state would have something negative to say about it. The private member's bill itself has to be quite narrow in scope. And where we've got to with the Down syndrome bill, is actually pretty wide for people with Down syndrome. There's been a lot of talk by government ministers, by Liam himself, to say that actually what's been put forward for this bill could easily be replicated for other conditions as well. So it's been tough seeing a bit of flack, but let's put it in context. There's about 10 people on Twitter who have made quite a lot of noise. They largely like each other's tweets. As far as we're concerned, they haven't said anything really of relevance, and actually they've shown, I suppose, in one sense, sort of quite crass behaviour because nothing happens by revolution in terms of legislation. Everything has to happen by evolution. You have to have a starting point.
Absolutely, and that's a crucial political point, because one of the points that Liam Fox has made is that to get Down syndrome talked about and on the statute book is in itself a major breakthrough. Now it's there. Other MPs, either this year or over the years, can then add to that if there is a need for it. But it's the point of principle of people talking about it and saying Down syndrome and rights, they go together in law.
Yeah, absolutely, and the big thing, or the big difference is the Secretary of State at the moment. Any department could say, do you know what? We now need to issue guidance on Down syndrome in how we should be interacting with people with Down syndrome when we're looking at different pieces of legislation. But the whole point is they could do that. What they will have to do now is they will have to do that. So there's no shying away from it. So people with Down syndrome will absolutely be considered across 4 key areas at the moment. So we're looking at health, care, education and housing. And those in itself, they're areas that will impact people throughout their lives. There's going to be further attention given to employment in the guidance and the strategy. Really looking at existing bodies like the Education Authority, social care, in what they're doing to ensure that people with Down syndrome have the opportunity to work as well. So it is a really, really exciting time.
I agree with you, Ken, and I'm delighted to have that conversation with you. And on your last point about education, we got special education needs being talked about in the new white paper as well. So that there's a relationship between the two issues as well. Ken, keep in touch. Well done. Congratulations. And don't let them knock you down. Don't let them get you down. I know they won't. Great to talk to you, and we'll talk to you again soon, I hope. Thank you very much indeed. So that was Ken Ross there, founding officer of the National Down Syndrome Policy Group.